and welcome. I am Exit and this is my channel. And today we are going to discuss the baffling disappearance of Sam Dubal on Mount Rainier in Washington State. Before we get started, if you would please give this video a thumbs up, it really helps my channel. If you are not subscribed, please go ahead and click that button and you'll be notified when my content goes live and you won't miss anything. And below, I am going to put a link to my new Etsy store. And if you want to take a look around, that'd be lovely. Okay, let's get started. Dr. Sam Dubal was 33 years old when he left for Mount Rainier National Park on Friday, October 9th, in 2020. He was going for a solo hike and was supposed to return the following day. He was spotted that day on the Mother Mountain Loop Trail near Lake Mowich in the park. Sam was reported missing on October 12th when he did not return home. Sam was well equipped for the overnight hike. He had with him a tent, a sleeping bag, he brought snow gear, rain gear, he had a cell phone, and he had a charger. And Sam was an experienced hiker under challenging conditions. After an extensive search, Sam was unable to be located. Mount Rainier is considered one of North America's most dangerous mountains because it has a very high chance of volcanic eruptions. Even so, it has also had a heavy toll on hiking deaths, many visitors dying on its icy slopes because of accidents, misadventures, foul play, or for reasons unknown. When I grew up in Washington State, we all said that we would never live next to Mount Rainier because we had been told since we were little that it was about to blow any second. Obviously, it hasn't, which only means we're closer to it blowing. As of November 23rd, the only clue in this case was that Sam's water bottle was found near the loop trail. No other sign of Sam has ever been located, despite many, many searches in the park. The nature of his disappearance is really puzzling as he was so experienced and he brought the right equipment. And the Mother Mountain Trail is not considered dangerous or difficult. Mount Rainier has a 14,411-foot summit. It is also known as Tahoma or Tacoma, and it is a large active stratovolcano in the Cascade Range of the Pacific Northwest. It is located in Mount Rainier National Park, about 59 miles southeast of Seattle. It is the highest mountain in the U.S. state of Washington and the Cascade Range. The mountain is considered one of the most dangerous volcanoes in the world because of the high chance of an imminent eruption. And like I said, it's been imminently going to erupt since I was very little. So you can either think that, well, it's probably not going to erupt since it hasn't and it was always imminent. Or like I said before, that means it's even closer to a major eruption. And there is people that live at the bottom of that mountain. It would be devastating. And especially considering that it's only 59 miles from Seattle. And when Mount St. Helens blew, I lived in Spokane, Washington at the time, and that ash fell all over Spokane in about 4 to 5 inches. So that's a long way just for the ash to travel. So Seattle would be in imminent danger as well. The Mother Mountain Loop Trail is a really popular route in the northwest corner of Mount Rainier National Park. People can day hike there. If you get a permit, you can spend the night. Also, it is so mild that it is a running trail. So let's talk about Dr. Sam Dubal. He was an avid hiker. He had traveled around the U.S. and the Himalayas and Nepal. So very clearly capable of hiking. He was a Stanford graduate who attended medical school at Harvard, and he received his PhD in medical anthropology from UC Berkeley in 2018. An anthropologist is a person engaged in study aspects of humans with past and present societies. During his time in the Joint Medical Anthropology Program, Dubal went to do fieldwork in Uganda concerning the Lord's Resistance Army, which is a militant Ugandan group that is infamous for its war crimes, horrible acts, especially against women, and they will kidnap young boys, 7, 8 years old, and force them to be in the resistance. This work would later lead him to write a book in February of 2018 that critiques the concept of humanity. It's called Against Humanity: Lessons from the Lord's Resistance Army. Sam started teaching at the University of Washington's Anthropology Department in June of 2020 and was an assistant professor. University of Washington anthropology and global health professor James Pfeiffer said, "He was the kind of scholar and public intellectual we need in the world right now. We felt extremely lucky that he had decided to come and work with us and to be part of our faculty." According to Nancy Shepper-Hughes, Chancellor's Professor Emerita in UC Berkeley's Anthropology Department, Sam was a trailblazer. He struggled to find and imagine a better path for collective goodness instead of employing the colonist concept of humanity. With Shepard-Hughes, Dubal contributed to the birth of a new field. It is called radical medicine. Seth Holmes, Associate Professor of Public Health and Medical Anthropology at UC Berkeley, shared that Dubal envisioned and co-founded RadMed, which is an inclusive collective at the Berkeley Center for Social Medicine. What it does is Sam wanted to convene scholars, clinicians, students, and patients to work together and imagine different forms and practices of medicine. Sam Dubal was an amazing human being and a very talented climber and hiker. He was 5 feet 9 inches tall and 160 pounds. He had black hair and a short black beard and was possibly wearing a blue jacket. Mount Rainier National Park Service search and rescue teams conducted an intensive 9-day search. That's very unusual for it to go 9 full days. Sam's car was found shortly after he was reported missing, and his water bottle was found a few days later. Park rangers, volunteer hikers, helicopter crews from the National Park Service and the U.S. Air Force searched for Dubal on the ground and by air. The area of Mount Rainier National Park where teams searched ranged from 2,000 to 5,000 feet in elevation and included dense forests, rocky terrain, subalpine meadows, and bodies of water, lakes, and rivers. On October 17th, when the weather was good, a 50-person search and rescue team scoured the area from top to bottom, and the next day the team was limited to just 26 searchers because poor weather came in. On the 19th, only 6 people were able to go out, and October 20th, a 26-person search and rescue team was able to search again in the area where Dubal was believed to be hiking. But again, poor weather came on October 21st and the 22nd, and it limited the ability of rescuers to continue searching on the ground. The operation was subsequently suspended, and then Sam was presumed dead by that point. Sam's family started a petition on October 22nd, begging the rescue teams to please continue to search for him for at least 72 more hours. It is only in missing person cases in the national parks, mountains, etc., that the searchers just give up and presume that somebody's dead. And in any other case of a missing person, the case will be open for years, and it'll involve multi-police agencies, etc. But in the national parks, it is the ideal place for somebody to be abducted, to be killed and buried somewhere, for a number of things to happen, and to never find the reason, because the searches are so minimal before they just give up. Considering Sam was near fresh water, he couldn't have lived for several days. Anybody who has ever watched Naked and Afraid knows that they go for a long time without food. What they need is fresh water, which is exactly what he had. And he could have been eating berries or pine nuts. There's no reason to just assume after 9 days that Sam is dead. They didn't find a body. They didn't find his clothes. There was no blood, no drag marks. So why would you assume that the missing person was dead? That's a question for the National Park Service. Why did they just immediately assume within days that a person is dead with absolutely no clues that show that to even be a possibility? After the family started the petition, the National Park Service announced that crews had resumed the search for Dubal on the ground because of the request of the family. If the family hadn't requested that, keep this in mind, they wouldn't have continued the search. However, by this stage, winter storms had covered most of the area with snow, and temperatures then dropped below freezing, even at the lower elevations. Just a day after Dubal set out for his hike, a storm washed out the crossing he would have used to traverse the Carbon River. There had been a record 60 searches on Mount Rainier National Park in 2020, according to the National Park Service, and several deaths. Despite these search efforts, Sam remains missing. And consider this, that crossing wasn't washed out until the day after Sam would have crossed it. So it's not likely that he was trying to cross it while it was washing out. And he's a survivalist. He has climbed many mountains. Remember this, he had climbed in the Himalayas in Nepal. That is considered exceptionally dangerous. So he's obviously a brilliant man. He obviously thinks things through and rationalizes things. Look at his position. So I don't even know why that crossing being washed out is being brought up, because he would have already been past it. So what did happen to Sam Dubal? It's strange. Somebody wrote in and they said that him and his friend had taken this route just a month after Sam disappeared. They said that there is no way that he could have been injured or killed, and especially not found, if he had stayed on the trail. They said there is only really two potentially dangerous spots on the route, which is very, very safe and very, very easy to follow. The first one is the crossing of the Carbon River. It had a log across it by the time that they were there. But even without one, it was possible for him to have gone through. And even if he had fallen in and drowned, there were plenty of snags, many, many trees and bushes in that river that would have caught him. He would have been spotted. Beyond that, the only other danger spot is a slick crossing above a waterfall. But again, if something happened, he would have been easily found at the bottom of that waterfall or snagged in the river. There are no steep drop-offs or other places to fall along that trail. So, did he deviate from his planned route? Doesn't seem likely. Like I said, this is a very thoughtful, precise man. I don't think he would have deviated, especially considering that his family and friends knew that he was going to be on this particular trail. So, what happened? What happens to people when they mysteriously vanish in a national park? No remains, no clothing, a water bottle of everything he had with him, his tent. Where's his tent? Where's his cell phone? Where is Sam Dubal? Thank you for coming to my channel, and good night.